It's true. She is in over 500 million GPS units around the world. From Australia, over here she's known as the Australian voice of Siri. In Australia, she's just Siri. First and foremost, Karen is a wife to Tom and a mother to Hayden, who's running around here, and if you have not met him yet, you certainly will. But she's an award-winning singer-songwriter. She's a concert performer. She's a speaker. She's an author of 2 books, The GPS Girl's Roadmap to Your Future, and her new book, Recalculate, Directions for Driving Performance Success. What I admire most about Karen Jacobsen, really 2 things. One, her commitment to integrity. And secondly, her commitment to standards. Of all of the people that I've come across in my 34 years of being in this profession, I have never met anyone who is so committed to the standards of being world class in absolutely everything that she does, both personally as well as professionally. That is her bar, striving to be world class every single day. It is indeed an honor to share with you my friend and the woman, the only woman in the world that men will take directions from. May I present to you the GPS girl from New York City, Karen Jacobsen.
Moving toward the stage, continuing along the aisleway past many consultants and speakers, continuing toward the stage, moving ahead and past the microphone, and approaching the stage at the next intersection, turn right, continue up the stairs, trying not to fall over, to the middle of the stage at the Speaker Consulting Network 20th anniversary. You have reached your destination. So now I have some directions for you. Are you ready? Please turn to the person next to you. Tell them how lucky they are to be sitting next to you this morning. Please stand for the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Please take your seats. Now, who has been in a car with a GPS? Excellent. And who might have had it set to the female voice? Wonderful. So there is a chance that you and I have taken lots of fabulous trips together. Now, in my travels, a lot of people want to tell me about their relationship with their GPS. And they do have one. Who has a name for their GPS? A special name that can be expressed in mixed company? Yes. Yes. Pat? Hat. Tell me, why is your GPS called Hat?
My mother's best friend knew everything. Her name was Hat.
I see. Very good. I like that a lot. Who else? Who has a name for their GPS? Yes.
I call him Steve, but we're on the outs.
Oh, you and Steve? Okay, all right. One more, yes. Carmen Garmin. I like it a lot. A lot of people want to tell me their names of their GPS, and recently I spoke with at an event, and a gentleman down the front was very excited, insistent on telling me that he likes to call me Mrs. Bossy Pants. People really do have a relationship with their GPS, and it makes sense because we're in the car, maybe we're in the car alone at night, we're lost, it's raining. We build this rapport, this connection with that voice, thinking that it's a companion of some kind. So people want to tell me their GPS stories. They want to tell me about the wonderful trips we've taken together. Janice called me. She said, "Karen, I've just landed at LAX. You're navigating me around Los Angeles." And Ryan, who saw me at an event, and he said, "Karen, last weekend, you and I, we went to Milwaukee to my cousin's wedding. We had the best time." And then there was a woman I met at an event, and she said, "Oh, you've got to come with me into the other room and meet my girlfriends, because if it wasn't for you, we would still be lost in the mountains of Italy." But there is one word people want to tell me about and share with me more than any other word that their GPS says, and that word is recalculating. Now, I'm here today to tell you that recalculating is good news, okay? Because by the time you hear the word recalculating, you are already back on track. The satellites have worked their magic. Now, wouldn't it be great if there was a GPS for everyday life? Some way of knowing what to do, where to turn, what decision to make, especially when things got tough. Who would want one of those? Well, I have good news, and that is that we all have one. It's our inner GPS, and it will always steer us the right way for us. So today, we are going to learn the 5 directions for recalculating, the ability to recalculate in life, in business, at any moment when things do not go the way we want them to go, because we don't usually like it, do we? When things don't go the way we thought they would. But we can always recalculate. We're gonna take a little drive. Please don't ask me why. Just tell me that you will come with me tonight. There are so many things to say. don't say. We're gonna take a little drive tonight. We're gonna speak our minds, and in the morning light, we will be alright. We're gonna take a little drive tonight. Recalculating. I want to take you back to the very beginning. I'm from a town called Mackay, near Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Is anybody else from Mackay? Do I have any Aussies in here? Yes, David Moffat! Thank you. Anybody would like to go to Australia? Oh, yes, that's a popular one. So I was born in a town called Mackay. Now Mackay has sugar white sand and turquoise blue water and 9 out of the 10 most poisonous snakes in the world. Paradise. At the age of 7, I was sitting in our family living room, and on the TV came the most influential and most important person in the entire world, Olivia Newton-John. And when I saw her, my life changed. I knew what I wanted to do. I had direction. I knew I wanted to become a professional singer and move to America. This blonde Australian singer who'd come over here, and you guys just loved her and embraced her. And I wanted to be just like her. Now, a few more years down the road, and I'm living in Sydney, Australia, and I had pursued that dream. I'd become a professional singer, and I was performing 2 to 5 nights a week in venues and in piano bars around Sydney. You could not turn the radio or the television on in the 1990s without hearing my speaking voice or my singing voice on commercials and on different campaigns. And I was performing on live television. But I was off route. I was in the wrong country. Because that dream I had when I was a little girl, to grow up and become a professional singer and move to America, I'd accomplished so much. But there I was. I'd stopped. I'd stopped short of what my true dream was. The first direction for recalculating is to notice you are off route. To notice you are off route. I want you to practice, and in your very best GPS voice, say it with me. Notice you are off route. Oh, that's very good. Calm and consistent, just like the instructions I was given, to notice you were off route, just to simply notice, because sometimes we can be off route for one heck of a long time before we even notice. You know what I'm saying? To notice. Once we noticed that we are off route, that's when we can do something about it. You can only begin to recalculate anything. A small challenge or a major recalculation when you are willing to admit and you have noticed that you are actually lost. Notice you are off route. The second direction for recalculating is to be willing to change direction. Being willing to change direction. Being willing, oh my goodness, this is the hardest part. Not just of recalculating, of life. Now, who has ever had anything to do with toddlers at any point? Excellent. So you would also have experienced that if you try to make a toddler do something they do not want to do, how does that go? It doesn't. It just doesn't go well. And I have to say, it's not that different with adults. You can try and make somebody do something, but if they have decided they do not want to do it, it's just not going to happen. Being willing to change direction. So I'm living in Sydney, Australia, and I realize it's time. And I start to tell everybody, I am going to move to America. And I get these reactions of, well, what would you want to do that for? Why? You've got a great life. You've got a great career here. Why would you want to give all that up and go to America? Because I knew my inner GPS was screaming at me that it was time to follow that part of my dream and to move to America. But I had this one problem, and I needed to overcome it. You see, I had been dealing with chronic anxiety ever since I was tiny. And at school, if there was a piano exam or a big concert or the school musical, I would have such extreme abdominal pains that I would be at home and off school for up to a week. And every time this happened, they would take me to the doctor and do a round of every test they'd invented at that time. And after those tests, the doctor would come out to my parents and he would say, Mr. and Mrs. Jacobsen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your daughter. It's just nerves. Well, those nerves and I had quite a time of it. Ever had that kind of situation where your nerves seem like they are running the show? Yeah, well, from a very young age, they were in total charge of my panic. And as I got a little older, I started to develop some ability to handle that and some tools to manage it. But here I was at the age of 31, preparing to move to big, bad New York City on my own with my suitcase and my dream. And that anxiety, it still had me. I didn't have it. Do you know what I mean? Right. And so it was time once and for all to get that handled. So here's what I did. As soon as I got to America, I decided that I was going to be on stage as much as I possibly could. You know, I'd been studying with a teacher at that time, one of Australia's best singers, and her name was Carrie Bedell. And I learned that the value of one performance equaled 50 rehearsals. You might want to write that down. One performance equals 50 rehearsals. So I thought, well, if that's the case, I need to be on stage as much as I possibly can so that I can be performance ready, able at any time, at any moment, to jump up on stage and perform. I also thought that if I could minimize the lag time between when I knew I was going to be on stage and when I was actually on stage, I would have no time to be nervous. And that strategy worked. Are you performance ready? At a moment's notice, if Lois called you up right now and said you're on, are you able to do it? Is your relationship with your nerves such that that would be okay? Being performance ready, able to jump in at any moment and deliver the very best of what you have to give. Being performance ready. So I had to be willing to change direction, to overcome this anxiety, willing to do things in a way that I had never done them before. Then I had to do things in a very different way, being willing to be able to be in this country and stay in this country. Now, one of the things I had to do was, well, one of the things I chose to do was to become a citizen of the United States. So I thought we might have a little fun. Would you like to do a quiz? Shall we? There are prizes. Yeah, okay, good. So when I became, I got my green card, my immigration story is a whole keynote of its own. But for now, I knew that I wanted to become an American citizen. And I had to be willing to handle 14 years of paperwork. And at the end of that, they said, there's a test that you need to take. And they gave me a book. And they said, you need to learn all of this history and all of this information about the United States. So now the people who get to participate in this quiz right now are people who were born in the United States. If you weren't born in the United States and you once took this test, it's a bit like becoming president. You have to be born here, right? Yes. Okay, so I'm looking for a volunteer. Who would like to go first and answer a question? I'm sure you'll know everything. You studied history at school, right? Right? Who's going to be the first one? Oh, okay. I'm gonna head down over here. Roy is going to be the first one. This is so very exciting. So let me think of a good question. I know. Round of applause for Roy. Stand up, Roy. All right. Roy navigated me here from the airport, by the way. It was a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
We didn't even get lost, did we?
Well, we did.
Okay, so Roy, what is the title of the national anthem of the United States of America?
Star Spangled Banner.
Very good, very good. Take us. Oh, I forgot my prizes.
You did.
That's not good. I have to go and get them. All right. So who is going to be the next volunteer? You get to choose.
Oh, wow. Uchi. So, Canada. No, that's not going to work. Sorry. Bob Spiel.
Where's Bob? Okay, very good. Take a seat, Roy. I'm going to go get your prize. Bob, I'm on my way. Okay. So, the next question. Let me think. Shall I do a difficult one or an easy one for Bob? Either way, okay. Hi, Bob. Nice to meet you. Okay, so Bob, what ocean lies to the west of the United States of America?
The Pacific Ocean.
Oh, very good, very good. You didn't even need a lifeline. And there's a prize for you. Thank you.
I get to pick the next one?
And you get to pick the next one.
My goodness. Steve Katz.
Okay, take a seat. Fabulous. Okay, Steve, here we go. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so no pressure or anything, but I have not ever had anybody get this one right. So if you do, then that would be really something very, very special. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so Steve, what is the rule of law?
The rule of law.
The rule of law.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Oh, that's good. That's okay. I am going to tell you, it's not the correct answer, but it's the best answer I've ever heard. Okay, you ready, Steve? So the answer is that nobody is above the law. Everyone must follow the law. Every single person, every single citizen of this country, no matter what their station, must follow the law. You, Steve, get a prize. And we'll talk about the special prize later. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm coming back through here to give Roy his prize. You are a good sport. Did you know that did anybody else know about the rule of law? Oh, very good, very good. It's very good. Well, now, I know they got prizes and you didn't, but here's the good news. The good news is because we are all here to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Absolutely everyone is going to get a prize. We have a team of prize givers, and you are all going to get a prize. So, right? And I hope you will enjoy that. Being willing. Now, the people who were called on, and I called on just now, had to be willing. Are you willing? And are you performance ready? Ready at a moment's notice. Thank you, Julie. Okay, so the first two, to notice you are off route, to be willing to change direction. The third direction for recalculating is to, you ready to say it after me? Clarify your destination. Very good. To clarify your destination, because by now, new information might have come to light. If you've noticed that you're off route, and you've taken a wrong turn, or if things have not gone as planned, new information may have come to light. It's time to take a look. Where were you headed? And now, might that destination have changed? Or perhaps you're still headed to the same destination, only you're on a bit of a detour. To clarify your destination. I'm living in New York City, and my agent contacts me and says, we have an audition for you. There is a client, and they are looking for a native Australian female voiceover artist living in the northeast of the United States. And I read that brief, and I thought, well, this job is mine. This is a description of me. I went along to the audition. And they had me say some things like, at the next intersection, turn left. It's spooky, isn't it? For the extra spook factor, close your eyes while I say the next one. Okay. You have reached your destination. And everybody's favorite, recalculating. And at the end of the audition, they said, that's great, we would like to hire you. But what we need to do is we're going to take you to a hotel, a town in upstate New York. We'll put you in a hotel for 3 weeks. And in Ithaca, New York, we are going to record for 50 hours to create a text-to-speech voice system. Now, we only want to record a maximum of 4 hours a day because we don't want your voice to sound tired or fatigued in any way. So off we went. I went up to Ithaca, New York, and every day from 9 till 1, I recorded. And it was thousands of voice prompts to create a voice system, a text-to-speech voice system. Are you ready for the technical part? So, I did not record every street name in the world. I do know the answer to every question in the world, of course, but I did not record every street name. What they wanted to capture was every combination of syllables possible so they could chop that up and create a voice system based on my speaking voice. I went back to my life in New York City, and one day I got a phone call from my friend Nadia. It was the holidays, and she called and she said, Karen, it's Nadia. My husband and I, we're driving back from Maine to the city after Christmas, and I bought my husband one of those new GPS thingos, and you know, we're driving along, and my husband said, put it on the Australian voice. So we put it on the Australian voice, and oh my gosh, Karen, it's you. It's you. And I turned to my husband and I said, oh my gosh, I gave you Karen Jacobsen for Christmas. And that is how I found out that my speaking voice had ended up in a bazillion GPS and smartphone devices around the world, telling people where to go and what to do, even while I'm here with you today. Now, it could have stopped right there. Nice, my voice is in devices, great. However, people would come up to me when they found out it was my voice that was directing them. They built this special connection, this special bond. And they came up to share stories with me, talking to me in such a familiar way as if we were already friends. In some cases, as if we were already very close. And I mean, I've even had, I had a beautiful letter from a 12-year-old girl who said, "We know your name is Karen. You've been with our family for 4 years. We've gone to all of these different locations. And she said, you know, we know your name is Karen, but we call you Zoe after our pet bird who died." I'd like to think I've heard just about everything. And I knew there was something in it because of this connection people felt with my voice and therefore with me. And it took me a while to figure it out. But one day I made this connection between directions in the car and directions in life. And I've had a lifelong love of personal development, of being the very best version of myself I could possibly be. And if there's a seminar or an audio or a book or a conversation I can have that is going to be uplifting, I want to be a part of it. So I made that connection and I created a brand. I could see there was a brand to be created, and I created the GPS Girl as an empowerment brand. And then I thought, recalculating in the car, recalculating in life. I don't know where this came from. It just seemed to make sense to me. And I created this brand. Now, I was a little girl in North Queensland, in the middle of nowhere in terms of the world, who had this dream to become a singer and a songwriter and be just like Olivia Newton-John, and moved to America on my own to try and make that happen. And here, this very unexpected development happened. My voice ends up all over the world. And I realized that from all of those connections I had with people, that there was a bigger purpose. There was a bigger purpose for me in my life and in my business, and that now I had a message to share, a message of how to keep going no matter what, as I had done through my life. Clarify your destination. Things might happen in your life and in your day-to-day business that you did not expect, that you did not particularly want to welcome happening, but you are the one who has the choice. You get to choose. Are you going to totally repel what's going on, or are you going to recalculate in the moment? Are you going to allow yourself to look at what might work from the new circumstances that you have? Clarify your destination. To clarify. It's not for the love of being here, not for the passion every day, if it's not for the joy of melting moments, I'm not gonna stay. at all. There are many simple ways. Somehow, despite all the obvious roads, I have managed to wind up in some peculiar maze of thoughts leading me somewhere silent. If it's not for the love of being here, not for the passion every day, if it's not for the joy of melting moments, I'm not gonna stay. I gotta get my head around being so badly let down. Oh, when will I see the sun? Time is a curse. It's supposed to make it pass. Me, I can wait, but my patience is thin. I refuse to lose my faith. I've made it this far. No, I will not falter. If it's not for the love of being here, not for the passion every day, if it's not for the joy of melting moments, I'm not gonna stay. I'm not gonna stay. Navigating change is not for the faint of heart. Notice you are off route. Be willing to change direction. Clarify your destination. The fourth direction for recalculating is to embrace the steering wheel. Embrace the steering wheel. I was driving in a car in New England with my friend Tom. At the time, I was having problems with my boyfriend, and my friend Tom was giving me all kinds of great advice on how to fix that relationship. Now, my boyfriend, he lived in Beverly Hills, and he was rich, and he was famous, and he would send me gifts to my postage stamp size apartment room in New York City. He would send me boxes of jackets and of shoes and girls' jewelry. And the second time I went to visit him in his home in Beverly Hills, he had bought a piano for me to play and write songs when I was there with him. And I really wanted this relationship to work. And I couldn't understand why I wasn't happy. So I'm driving along with my friend Tom. He's giving me all of this excellent advice on how to fix the relationship. And then he sent me off to JFK, and I flew out to Los Angeles to fix the relationship. I arrived. I walked into his beautiful home, and there was the piano. And I looked at my boyfriend, and I burst into tears. And I realized I didn't want to fix the relationship. I broke up with him. and I went back to the airport. And I flew from Los Angeles all the way back to JFK. And waiting there at Terminal 7 was my friend Tom. And we kissed for the first time. And then we really embraced the steering wheel because we were married 4 months later. This did not look how I thought it was supposed to look. My life was supposed to be in Beverly Hills, receiving fabulous gifts with somebody rich and famous. But it didn't feel right. What my inner GPS was telling me under no uncertain terms to marry my friend Tom and to have his baby. Now, I had no idea how that was going to work because, I have a travel schedule. My friend Tom, his travel schedule is off the charts. He's a production manager with touring music artists. He lived on the road. How were we going to make this work? But my inner GPS was telling me this was what there was to do. Embrace the steering wheel. When you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what there is to do, go ahead and do it. Your inner GPS will never steer you wrong. You know those times when you want to do something and everyone around you says it's a bad idea? You don't have any support for it. So you go along with the crowd and do what they say is the right way to go about things. And it turns out you were right. And that wasn't right for you. You know those times? And then there are the times when we completely know, whether you want to call it your inner GPS or your inner voice or your true self, whatever you might want to call it. We know when that is speaking to us, we know what there is to do. Follow that voice. Because when you don't, there are consequences. Consequences that we have to deal with and we have to sort out. Embrace the steering wheel. This is about taking charge, getting yourself in gear, moving from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. When you know what's right for you, getting ready to go for it. Now, I had one of the most phenomenal introductions I could ever have dreamed from Marc LeBlanc. And I saw Marc LeBlanc embrace the steering wheel when Anne LeBlanc came along. And I had the great honor of singing at their wedding. I'm weary. I've tried as hard as I can try through the darkness. Your voice is telling me to shine. There are plenty of clouds to climb, to reach for my star and to make it mine. I am who I am because of you. I stand where I stand behind the truth, because you showed me how to live my dream. You gave me everything I'd ever need. Oh, I give me. When you were, I only wanted more. You're the reason I love to live. And how grateful my heart is, 'cause you're my greatest gift. I am who I am because of you. I stand where I stand behind the truth, because you showed me how to live my dream. You gave me everything I'd ever need. Oh, I am who I am because of you. You showed me how to make it mine. I am who I am because of you. I stand where I stand behind the truth, because you showed me how to live my dream. You gave me everything I'd ever need. Oh, I am who I am because of you. Notice you are off route. Be willing to change direction. Clarify your destination. Embrace the steering wheel. And the fifth and final direction for recalculating is to accelerate. To accelerate when you know within a shadow of a doubt what there is to do and how to go about it. Just start. Just take a step. Any step. It doesn't matter how small. It might be a phone call. It might be a Google search. You might just write it down. Maybe you'll whisper it to somebody you know. Accelerate in the direction of the destination of your dream. It is never too late to recalculate. I want you to say that with your very best GPS voice. It is never too late to recalculate. Never too late to recalculate. I want to share with you the most major recalculation of my life. Now, when I married my friend Tom, I married the love of my life. But he came with a very unhappy ex-wife. They were divorced, but financially, they weren't completely, exactly, totally divorced. And as we started to unravel that situation, it led to a lot of legal time and ultimately legal bills. And that continued for 5 years. During this time, we were living in New York City, and I was a singer-songwriter. And we were doing our best to keep up with the payments that we needed to make. And we started to live beyond our means. And then we started to inherit some credit card debt from other people's, someone else's marriage. And before long, we were in deeper than we planned for. And then we had a plan to recalculate. We came up with a strategy. Now, we came into a small amount of money. Not enough money to pay off that credit card debt, but enough to put down a down payment on an apartment. So here was our plan. We would buy the apartment, and then a month later, we would refinance that apartment, and all of that credit card debt, that 30% interest credit card debt, do you remember that? Yeah, we would put that into the mortgage, into our 8% mortgage. It was a very good plan. Only we closed on our apartment on August 28th, 2007. And a month later, I called our mortgage guy, Tim. I said, Tim, it's Karen. We're ready to refinance our mortgage and put all that credit card debt in our mortgage. And Tim said, Karen, I'm really sorry, but those mortgages, those subprime mortgages, the ones where you didn't have to show any paperwork, because you probably didn't have the paperwork, they've stopped those mortgages. They changed the law and they're not available anymore. And we were stuck. And by this time, I was 6 months pregnant with our son Hayden, and the entertainment business, often being the first to go, my husband's business had started to decline. So we were living in a beautiful, brand new apartment, and we didn't have the money for groceries. It was a ludicrous situation. We needed to recalculate in a very big way. We are going to do whatever it takes to reach our destination kind of way. When you hit rock bottom, it is very difficult to see the way out and to see the way through. But we made the decision that we were committed to financial freedom. And here's what we did. We contacted a realtor, and we found a tenant to put into our brand new, beautiful home we did not want to leave. And then I called the airlines and I booked frequent flyer tickets for the three of us, for my husband and I and our baby son, to fly to Australia, where we lived with my parents for an entire year to get back on our feet. How embarrassing is that? As a grown woman with a husband and a baby son, to move in with my parents. But I feel lucky. I mean, that our families would help us. A lot of people lost everything. So we went to Australia. And then I got on the phone and I did deals with 19 credit card companies. One by one, I did 0% 5-year deals. You do know you can negotiate with your credit card company, right? From a different time zone. I have to add that extra degree of difficulty. I spent 11 months on the phone with the mortgage company from January to December of 2009 trying to modify our mortgage. This was in another time zone, through periods where New York State was not approving any new mortgages because the laws were changing so rapidly. Finally, on Christmas Eve 2009, our mortgage was modified. Yay is right. It was a miracle. And we could start to make plans to move back into our home. When you recalculate in such a major way, there are always unexpected rewards. And for us, they were really obvious. Our baby son got to spend an entire year with his grandparents. Now, that wasn't on the cards. They loved it. I got to reconnect with my homeland. And my husband and I, this kind of thing can make or break a relationship. I'm really proud to say it made us closer than ever as we worked as a team. I feel so fortunate that we had somewhere to go and that both our families would help us. And I'm extremely grateful that my husband was willing to live with his in-laws for an entire year. It is never too late to recalculate. Notice you are off route. Be willing to change direction, clarify your destination, embrace the steering wheel, and accelerate. Now, we work to a crystal clear budget. We know where every penny goes. And on July 3rd, 2012, we made the final payment on our $90,000 worth of credit card debt. And I stand before you, credit card debt free. It is never too late to recalculate. Your turn. It is never too late to recalculate. A few years ago, I got a call from my friend Paul. He works for a major airline. And Paul said there's going to be a big gala, a big VIP event. Lots of celebrities will be there. It's going to be downtown. It's a big Australian-American Association event, and I want you to come and bring your husband and be at my corporate table. So on the big night, we arrive at Cipriani on Wall Street, and my friend Tom is wearing his tuxedo, and I'm wearing my I'm going to meet lots of fabulous celebrities tonight dress, right? We walk in the room, and my friend Paul spots us, and he says, "Karen, come with me." And he heralds me across the room where there's this swarm of people, and it looks like there's someone important in the middle, and he's pushing me through these people into the center. And there I am, standing face to face with the most influential and important person in the entire world, Olivia Newton-John. And I started to gush. And I said, I just want to acknowledge you. I want to thank you so much for the influence and the impact you've had on my life. Every major decision I've made, from where I live to what I do, you've just inspired me so much. I want to thank you. And she said, that's such a lovely thing to say. What's your name? And I said, Karen Jacobsen. And she said, and I kid you not, you're Karen Jacobsen? I love your CD. And in that moment, I knew that I was okay. I knew that I was where I was supposed to be, doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that maybe, just maybe, I was enough. And I know that you are too. Turn to the person next to you and in your very best GPS voice say, "You are enough." I've come back time and time again, one way or another. Something comes along right there, and then to keep keeping us on, to keep keeping us on, to keep keeping us going on. Oh, when we're coming through the hardest of times,